Hi, my name is John.
And my name is Lloyd.
And we're the hosts of The Pint,
a pop culture podcast.
Lloyd, if you had to tell any of the people out there that might be listening to The Pint for the first time about anything unsavory or disconcerting we might do on the show, what would you warn them about?
Well, sometimes we drop spoilers, and sometimes we swear like motherfucking sailors.
Fuck yeah, we do. You heard it from him. You've been warned.
Listen in.
Scotty, why are we here?
I told you. I have to go back into the past once more. Just once more. For the last time.
Why? Why here?
Madeline died here, Judy.
Welcome to a brand new episode of The Pint, a pop culture podcast. My name is John.
My name is Lloyd.
I'm Candi.
I'm Bob.
And we're here to do a Pint Insider Dedication. That's a movie where we take that's an episode where we take a movie we know one of our insiders, those are the folks over on Patreon, /The Pint, for $2.50 a month support us. We love them all. We take a movie that we know one of them loves, and we do it. And, this one's awfully special because we're doing this live, first of all, which is unusual.
Right.
And secondly, it's for Candi, who's here with us tonight.
Yeah, they usually don't know we're doing this.
Correct. We're showing our cards right here and letting you know what we're doing for you, Candi. See, that's a nice way to do it, right?
Yes, I'm honored. Thank you.
Beautiful. And also, this is kind of special because I know Bob has never seen this movie before.
No, I have not.
I have never seen this movie before. Candi clearly has. Lloyd, you have, correct?
I've seen it at least a handful of times.
All right. I am Hitchcock, I guess. What's the word? Deficient.
Deficient.
Yeah. Only seen 2 Hitchcock movies. One
Hitchcock
of them,
virgin.
Yeah. Well, no. Psycho took my virginity a long time ago.
Yeah.
But my second one was Rope, which we did on the show a few years ago. And this is Vertigo. Not just a U2 song. This is Vertigo. We'll be talking about from 1958. Let's get into it.
Let's rock.
Manster, you got all of that production information about Vertigo. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
I do have that. So this was directed by the one and only Alfred Hitchcock, an English filmmaker from Essex, England. It never really dwelled on me that he was an English filmmaker.
Yeah.
He directed over 50 feature films, many which are still watched and loved today and studied. 52 Academy Award nominations with his film. He has 6 wins, although he himself has never won as Best Director.
Oh, okay.
Even though being nominated 5 times. Obviously, he is the master of suspense. His Hitchcockian style basically includes ways of generating tension with editing and camera movements and framing shots for like maximizing anxiety. And dealing with themes of order versus chaos.
Before you go further into production, Candi, what is your relationship to Hitchcock as a filmmaker? This movie, why do you love it so much? And remember, we're going to grade it at the end, so don't get too excited.
I won't. Thank you. I am not Hitchcockian deficient.
Yeah.
I am Hitchcockian full, and I'll totally credit my mother, who loved movies that she grew up with, and she made it really exciting for my sister and me to watch them. So she introduced me to The Man Who Knew Too Much, Vertigo, Psycho came later, The Birds, and the first time I saw it, I was about 12 or 13, and it rocked my world. I just absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite films.
Manster, continue.
Yeah, so moving on, he started with silent films. He has 11 silent films from 1922 to 1929. His first talkie film, I'm making air quotes, was a film called Blackmail in 1929. So you may know, he's got so many, but you may know these. Like Candi said, The Man Who Knew Too Much, which he actually did in 34 and then remade it in 56.
Okay.
With none other than James Stewart.
Yeah.
The 39 Steps, Rebecca, which I know that was a pretty recent remake, right? At some point.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Army Hammer.
Army Hammer, yeah, that's it.
Can't talk about him, right?
Hammer's been uncanceled.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's what I heard. He was uncanceled. Yeah.
Cool. So he's back on the air.
Okay.
All right. Notorious. Notorious. All right.
Yeah.
Rope, which we did on the Pint.
Yes.
With
Yeah.
the lovely, sensual murder.
The gentlest strangling ever.
Strangling.
Yeah, it begins with a guy being strangled to death by the sweetest hands ever. That movie was, we talked about it on that episode. That movie was kind of ahead of its time because it was 1948, 49, I believe. And even though it's not said in it, the killers are clearly gay dudes.
Yes.
Yeah. Clearly gay guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Rear Window, Psycho, The Birds. Screenplay by Alec Koppel. Specialized in light thrillers, mysteries, and sex comedies, as was kind of the thing back in those days.
Yeah.
And co-wrote by Samuel Taylor, who also worked on some later films, such as Torn Curtain, and wrote the script for Topaz, neither of which, both, by the way, Hitchcock movies, neither of which I know. How about you?
Later on. Torn Curtain, I don't think I could sit through the whole thing, and I don't remember Topaz.
Topaz I only know of
Sorry.
because the box set that you got me for Christmas a couple years ago that has Psycho, The Birds,
Yeah.
Vertigo, and Rear Window. There's another one, and it has Topaz on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't own that, but...
This Vertigo is based on L'Entre les Morts, which is a French novel by Pierre Boileau and Thomas Martha Jacobi.
Good luck with that one.
Whatever. And that is interpreted in English would be From Among the Dead.
Okay, all right.
It tracks.
So filming locations, it was basically filmed all in San Francisco from October to December of 1957. Some key locations are in the Presidio, Fort Point, which is where Madeline jumps into the bay. Mission Dolores, which is the cemetery where Carlotta Valdez, I kept saying Valdez, but I was corrected, is buried. And then the Palace of the Legion of Honor is the art museum where she spends just hours staring at the portrait of Carlotta. The Empire Hotel is where Judy lives, which is now called the Hotel Vertigo. Well, that tracks as well.
Totally.
The Mission San Juan Bautista, not to be confused with Dave Bautista. That's where the setting of the bell tower was, although when it was filmed, there was no bell tower, but earlier in history there was.
Okay.
And finally, the Big Basin Redwoods State Park, where Scotty and Madeline just wander among these giant sequoias.
Yeah, there's a 10-minute scene where they fuck off to look at trees.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then you can't talk
It is a great scene. The background for that, the backdrop is beautiful.
Yeah, it's
a beautiful
gorgeous.
scene.
Although I wonder how much, because Hitchcock didn't like a lot of filming on location. He liked studios and sets and stuff like that. Because
That one definitely didn't look like a set. So I thought that was a standout for him because it seemed like a lot of his movies were sets.
Yep. And like I said, you can't talk about this without talking about the music. Very influential film score composed by Bernard Herrmann, who also collaborated with Hitchcock on Psycho and North by Northwest. Basically, it's very essential to the hypnotic feel of the movie, with the spiral sound where the music mirrors basically the themes of the movie with spiraling around and going back to the same point. And then the prelude also just a lot of broken arpeggios.
Ooh.
Yep. That rise and fall in like a circular dizzying motion. And then, of course, the Vertigo chord, which is the chord that plays when you see the vertigo effect of the zooming in and pulling back. So Bernard Herrmann, awesome. I love his.
I thought there was going to be a lot more Vertigo in a movie called Vertigo. I'm going to be honest.
Same thing.
There was a part of me that thought, and I do understand, and we'll talk about how it does play into the overall plot of the movie. But and
I was honestly thinking it was going to be what was going to be the penultimate ending to the movie of it all was going to tie together. That's what I thought.
It's more like the penultimate middle of the movie.
Yeah, it is, really.
There was a period of this movie where he had only suffered from vertigo once, and we were like an hour and 20 minutes in.
Right.
And I thought to myself, if he had like psoriasis, this movie could have just been called Psoriasis. And like once every 20 minutes, he just stops and goes, oh,
It itches.
I got to itch that real bad.
There are creams, and I all for that.
Oh, you have possibly a balm or an ointment for this? I've got quite the rash on my thigh.
It's quite the rash.
Sorry, Master, what else you got?
No, that's all I have, unless Candi wants to add anything.
No.
No?
I was just thinking about the swirling, and I love Kim Novak's hair in the film, and it has the swirl when she copies the portrait of Carlotta.
Right.
And she's wearing the bun. I just remember thinking that there were just so many spiraling, swirling references.
Oh, who was Glass? Was his name Glass? Max Glass? The guy who did the opening credits with the swirls.
Oh.
And like it looks like a spirograph.
It's not Max Glass.
Yeah, I just made that up. But I did watch a cool...
George Glass from the Brady Bunch?
Yes.
Jan's boyfriend.
Jan's boyfriend.
Was it Sam the Butcher? Oh, Sam. So, factoid here is Sam the Butcher made the opening credits to Vertigo. And, right after he was done with that, he fucked Alice as hard as he could.
Basically, before this guy came,
Saul Bass.
Saul Bass. Before this guy came on the scene, it was just like reading a page in a book. Right?
Bill Glass, Saul Blass,
Seabass, kick his ass, Seabass.
But he incorporated like themes of the movie in the opening credits, which was very cool. And that's all we got. Let's talk about who's in the cast.
Hey, who the fuck are you? Huh? Who the fuck are you?
All right, I got the cast here. We're going to start off with Jimmy Stewart, who I'm going to try as hard as I can not to do a bad impersonation of. But it's probably going to happen anyway. He plays the fucking weirdly named John Ferguson, who his acquaintances call him Scotty.
I couldn't figure out what's the connection
His
to that.
friends call him
His
John or Johnny. No.
His acquaintances.
His friends call him John
his
or Johnny.
acquaintances call him Scotty.
His acquaintances call him Scotty.
That's correct.
His last name's Ferguson, so I'm assuming he's Scottish. That's where the Scotty comes from. It's bizarre. Here are some things you might know Jimmy Stewart from. The Gorgeous Hussy. I picked that one because it's a fucking awesome name of a movie. He was in Rope. He was the detective in Rope and the Philadelphia Story. Here's some more things, though, you should know about him. Enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Force in 1941. Bomber pilot in Europe, a B-24 Liberator. My handwriting makes that look like it says vibrator, but it was a B-24 Liberator.
The B-24 vibrator.
Achieved rank of colonel. Then a brigadier general in the U.S. Air Force Reserves before retiring in 1968. So he retired from the actual Army Air Force, and then he re-enlisted as a reservist and became brigadier general.
Respect.
Yeah, respect. He's dropping fucking bombs, let's just be honest, in World War II.
And then later dropping ladies' panties.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. He was
cool
50.
blue eyes.
Yeah. He was 50 when they filmed this movie.
He'd make me drop my panties, that's for sure.
50 years old when they
I'm
filmed
not
it.
wearing panties.
They made it clear in this movie that he was in college with Midge like 30 years prior, and they make it clear that the Kim Novak character is 26.
Yes.
So there's some half-age banging going on here.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kim Novak, she plays the dual role, by the way, you shouldn't know that going into this, but I'm telling you anyway, of Madeleine Elster, but she's not really her, long story, and Judy Barton. Kiss Me Stupid, Boys Night Out, and Satan's Triangle, which is what I call the area between my asshole and my balls. Let's see. She retired acting totally in 1991. And if you want to go with one more thing that she did, she was on 19 episodes of the nighttime soap opera Falcon Crest.
Oh, Falcon.
Oh.
Oh, I did not know that.
In 86 and 87. Tom Helmore plays Gavin Elster. So on TV in 1954, there was a pilot of The Shadow. You know The Shadow, the old serial?
The Shadow knows.
There was just a pilot. He played him, and then it didn't get picked up. He was also in a movie called The Feathered Serpent and Flipper's New Adventure. Flipper the Dolphin.
Yep.
This guy was fucking around with that dolphin. Barbara Bel Geddes plays Midge would. All right, okay, gentlemen only. Gentlemen only. Because I'm raising my hand, yes. Would you have banged Midge?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Lloyd?
100%.
100%.
Yeah, and I saw her in a featurette. Of course, she's much older, and she's still very cute. Even as a very mature woman.
He wasn't giving her the time of day.
No.
And I'm like, why? She clearly needs it.
She's so into you.
She's so into you. Yeah, Scotty, Johnny, Jimmy, Bobby, Ricky, Mike, Ralph. He didn't get it at all. He was all in New Edition at once. So Barbara Bel Geddes was on Dallas from 1978 to 1990. 276 episodes. The only cast member to win an Emmy and a Golden Globe for lead actress. I also read, I'm going off my head. In the early 90s, she had breast cancer. She took a year off of the role. They replaced her, but fans were not happy about it. And when she recovered, they brought her back. It caused a lot of drama with the new actress. And from what I read, she is the only actress in, I guess, television history to reclaim a role and take it over again for a long period of time. So, interesting. Raymond Bailey plays Scotty's doctor. Yeah, that's the credit. TV guy, Bonanza, The Rifleman, and The Twilight Zone. And then Constantine Shane plays Pop Leibel. He was the bookstore owner. Pop Leibel. He was in a film called Christmas Eve. Let's see. He was in Song of Love and Escape in the Fog, which is what I call it when I fart.
Wouldn't it be Escape from the Fog?
No, because I'm in it. So I fart in like a CVS, and then I
go to a different aisle.
I go to a different aisle.
That's more like crop dusting, right?
Dusting, yeah. Well, I call it Escape in the Fog. That actor actually passed away. This is like his last credit, I believe, or second to last credit. He died like the next year. So that's our cast. Let's get into this movie. We're going to do some broad strokes here, okay? We start off with a chase. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. 3 dudes chasing each other up a building side, okay? We've got a robber. We've got a uniformed cop, Bob, and then we have a gentleman who we find out is a detective. It is Jeremy Stewart.
Scotty.
A 50-year-old detective should not be running across those slate, whatever you call those kind of roofs.
Agreed.
But the criminal was like the best dressed criminal I've ever seen.
Well, he stole that outfit.
Good point.
He robbed, what was it called? Ranscom's? What was the store? Ransports.
But in the 50s, you dressed up for everything.
Yes, yeah.
Any kind of occasion you dressed up.
Yeah, like, so when you flew in the 50s, you would put
a hat on. There wasn't a Dick's Sporting Goods back then?
No.
When you flew in the 50s, you would put a hat on and a jacket, and when you robbed somebody in the 50s, you put on a hat on and a jacket.
That's right.
You had to look natty, Bob.
You had to look natty.
So, Bob, this chase is happening, and then all of a sudden, Scotty, being a senior citizen, basically, he slips, and now he's holding on to dear life. Mm-hmm. But someone tries to save him. What happens?
The uniformed cop comes to save him and goes to pull him up, and down he goes.
So he's on a very steep roof, but nothing to hold on to, nothing to brace himself to pull up Scotty.
Nope.
And yet he's saying, reach for my hand, reach for my hand. He can't even stand there. And he just goes.
He goes. He goes
head over heel all the way down. Like
it sets the tone of the movie, pretty much.
He goes splat.
But the reason that the cop is trying to help Scotty is because Scotty has a bout of vertigo and can't pull himself up, which is very important.
Correct. Yeah, well, that's where it all starts.
Where it all starts.
And I'm still wondering how the hell he got out of that situation. It's not like the robber came back.
It just cuts from that scene to him in the living room with Midge.
There's a lot of leaps you have to take in this movie to the next scene.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have questions.
Well,
that's one of them.
Let's just assume Scotty butched it up and fucking lifted himself up with those fucking.
There's no fucking way he's lifted himself up under that.
You have not seen under 1958 Jimmy Stewart's shirt. It's probably
he
like
flipped,
that.
I'm going to believe that he flipped back to the other side and then opened.
I'm pretty sure he has a monkey tail. And
I like that idea too.
He has a reticulated.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
okay. That's why Midge liked him so much.
Yeah.
Love that monkey tail.
So we jump forward. A year, right? Scotty is chilling out with Midge. Midge is like, I want to see this bra on a woman. Midge is a draftsman, a painter, and apparently she's invented a bra that doesn't need a strap or anything that's going to use the gravity that is, I guess, emitted
Let's
from
point out that he had no fucking clue what that was hanging up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how this thing works. I wanted to see someone in it.
It works on the cantilever theorem.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of that at your work where you have to like figure stuff out like that? And you're like, this would make a good calculation for a bra.
Yes.
Yeah. Candi, can you explain the dynamic of the relationship between Midge and John? We're going to call him John.
Yeah, it's called John. So John and Midge went
I was
to college
going to keep calling him
together.
Scotty. I was all right with it. 'Cause I thought it was an acquaintance of him.
Yeah.
We're not sure where they went to college, but I'm guessing it's the Midwest. Just a guess. They were engaged for like 4 days or something crazy. And Midge is clearly still in love with Jimmy Stewart, with Scotty.
Yeah, she clearly said there was only one man for her.
One man for her.
Yeah.
But she called off the engagement, so that's kind of the leverage that John has. So that's how they know each other. And they're best friends, both living in, San Francisco and doing their thing.
Yeah, he just walks on into her apartment anytime he wants.
Yeah, repeatedly. Manster, so we now know their relationship. What is Scotty's or John's or whatever the fuck this guy's name is current lot in life? It's a year later, right? So like what's going on with him?
Yeah, so he's not doing much. He's trying to get over his vertigo by stepping on, little stair steps and little.
He sounds like some guys that I used to work with that kind of like milk the shit out of their disability.
Yeah.
He's kind of reminding me of that.
Yeah.
But somehow I guess he gets a pension from the police force, and he has recently been contacted by an old college buddy that Midge doesn't seem to remember. Gavin Elster, and he wants him to come see him about a thing.
And also it's important to point out that the doctor, the psychiatrist and or doctor who is working on him for his vertigo has explained to him that like you got to work at it like kind of gradually, and then eventually like it's going to be one more massive like bout of this and it will, shock it out of your system.
Yeah, it'll all just melt away and you'll be fine.
What was that fucking stool she had? That chair that had a ladder.
And then a toilet seat.
Right.
Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't understand anything in Midge's apartment. So he gets contacted by Elster. He goes to see Elster. Elster is this shipping magnate, but he's married into it, right? Like, that's very clear. And he tells John that, look, you're not a cop anymore, but I know that you're saddled with this vertigo shit, but I have a job for you. What's the job? The job is I need you to follow my wife. Yes. I need you to follow my wife, Madeline Elster. She's a young, hot little fucking thing, so that's not going to be too hard for you.
Right. Because he's got to be the same age. They went to college, so he's got a wife half his age.
Right.
Right.
And then at first, John's kind of like, no, I'm not really too sure about it, but he kind of talks him into it with the approach of, well, there's going to be at least 16 scenes of you following her in this movie.
Right.
In your car. How does that sound?
In your car. With the background, you're clearly sitting there just rocking back and forth while the background goes behind
the way he turns the wheel, it's like, there's got to be a lot of swerving going on in the street.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I love watching old steering in old movies. They're on a straightaway and they're fucking
reminds me of the zombies in Video Dead when they're driving the truck in there.
Yeah. Pretty brutal. So John eventually takes this job and he kind of starts right away on it. And
once he sees what she looks like, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
He's like, why don't you take a look at her tonight when we're having dinner? Then the next thing you know.
I just realized Candi is wearing a beautiful green top, very reminiscent of the green dress.
She's in a green dress. Well, but in the movie, don't they say it's gray?
They say gray.
They say gray, but it's, I think there's,
Well, the suit is definitely gray.
The suit was great.
So the first outfit she's wearing is a black evening gown with a green accents, or a green dress with black accents. But he sees her, and then that's why he decides to take the case.
Right.
Because she's gorgeous.
Bob, Kim Novak, hot or not?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's certainly hot.
Yeah.
They it's funny because we'll get to a point in the movie where the same actress is playing someone else maybe. And they do this like, this eyebrow grease thing.
Eyebrow thing.
I'm like, shit, you just fucked up a very good looking woman with like this really weird look. But anyways, she's still pretty, but like she looks so much better when she's playing the Madeline character.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like a relief when she's blonde.
She's a little too made up in the other version and all that stuff. Yeah. All right. So he starts to follow her around and, he sees things like her going to this art exhibit and she sits in front of this one painting of a very pretty woman, you know, with flowers, and she goes and gets these. What's up with the fucking store, Bob? Very nice store, I'm assuming, right? Like,
the florist.
But she goes in through the alley and like a back door. Like, what was happening in 1958? Like, wasn't there?
I think that was a thing for back in the 50s. Like entering everything everywhere through the back alley.
From the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Everybody entered through the back door.
Let's just get into it, though. We eventually have a moment where he has another conversation with Elster, I believe, Gavin Elster. And this is where the movie got weird for me, right?
Before we get to that conversation, let's get to part of her, his following her, because after he sees the florist and the grave and the portrait, he goes to the McKittrick Hotel.
Oh, right,
and she goes in there and opens the window clearly so she could be seen, you know, from the street, and he sees her. And then he goes in, and it gets a little confusing because he talks to the lady who runs the hotel, an older woman, and she's like, "Oh no, I know what you're talking about, but she hasn't been in here. I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah.
Her key is still on the hook. She comes in to sit a couple of times a week. She pays her rent. She's been doing this for a couple of weeks, but she hasn't been here today.
It's called a hooker.
And Jimmy Stewart essentially saying, "Well, I just saw her.
Lady of the night."
And she's like, and do you know who that actress is? The hotel manager is Grandma Walton in real life.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
She was old as fucking 58. How did, the Waltons was in the 70s.
I know.
Holy shit.
I know. It's crazy.
She was old as shit in this movie.
Wow.
Okay.
But I mean, he's intrigued right now because he sees the hair that Kim Novak has, or Madeline has, that matches the portrait, and the flowers match the portrait, and then the grave is Carlotta Valdez, and the portrait is Carlotta, and he's like, what is happening with this chick? And then he goes up to her room to see her in the hotel because he sees her looking out the window and she's not there.
She's not there.
Right.
And her car's not there either.
Her car's not there.
So he's all confused right now. Like, what the F is going on?
Okay.
I'm still confused.
Yeah, so this is where he goes and sees Elster, right? And Elster then explains what apparently, which this is where I got confused because I didn't think Vertigo was a supernatural thing. But all of a sudden, there appears to be a supernatural element to it. Candi, do you want to talk on that? Like, what all this is about?
So first of all, it's annoying that Gavin fills in all the blanks for for John. And John's like, well, you kind of could have told me this beforehand and he's like, well, I didn't know where she would take you. But the supernatural part is Madeline Elster, who is the blonde, beautiful Kim Novak, married to Gavin, had a great-grandmother who had a child out of wedlock after an affair with a wealthy San Francisco businessman of some kind. She had the baby, and the businessman decided not to stay with her and basically kept the child and threw her out on the street, and she subsequently took her own life. And that was who Carlotta Valdez was. And this was Madeline Elster's great-grandmother. Gavin is assuming that the great-grandmother's ghost is basically haunting his wife and, you know, taking possession of her body. And Madeline, who knows nothing about this great-grandmother and knows nothing about the history, is now exhibiting great-grandmother behavior and all of these strange things.
That's it, right there.
It's actually better than I could have said it. Thank you, Candi.
You're welcome.
It actually is clearer than the movie was for what I thought I heard. Okay, so now he doesn't believe this, right, though? Immediately, like, John, he's kind of like...
John is skeptical. Gavin is convinced.
Gavin's convinced. So he continues to follow her. Mm-hmm. He follows her to San Francisco Bay. Mm-hmm. She gets out of her car. Bob, what does she do?
She jumps off the bridge. I think it looked like she was planning this. Like, she had this all planned out, and she knew he was there. And she dove in.
Right.
That's how I gathered it when I saw that scene.
I thought that was a weird location. Like that. It's just a wall and steps that lead directly into the bay.
What movie did we do that had a setup just like that? And we talked about it on the episode. Why are there steps going into this water?
I can't remember, but it's on the back of my tongue.
Eastern Promises.
Yes.
Eastern Promises at the very end has a scene in London where I don't even remember what character. I think it's the Naomi Watts character, but ends up in the water. But there's like steps going into the water. Because I turned to Heather and said, why are there steps leading into and out of the water here?
Yeah, I guess that's a thing.
It's not a swimming hole.
Well, I actually think that was not... I don't think the steps are really
It might
there.
be a construction thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a construction thing. I've visited many sites from this film.
Okay.
And I don't think that exists.
She goes in, and he immediately takes off 17 layers of his, gentleman's 1950s wardrobe. The hat, he takes off the suspenders, he's all, gets on like my knickerbockers, and, he's in, two undershirts come off, and he goes in the water, and she's not even, she's just bobbing like an apple. She's bobbing like an apple.
Yeah.
And he gets in there, and he pulls her out, and then we get what is straight up, I'm sorry, whether you like Jimmy Stewart in this movie or not, the creepiest shit ever.
Very creepy.
Okay, there's a whole scene in his apartment.
Yeah.
That, I don't know if it was played to be tense. Maybe in 1958, we don't think of, the danger of men to women as it is, because it plays that way now. Because, first of all, she wakes up in his bed. She's naked.
Ass naked.
Yeah.
Ass naked.
Yep.
So he never fully says it, but he clearly undressed her.
Yes.
Probably sucked on a nipple at one point.
just a little.
Just one.
Well, you don't need to see it because her clothes are hanging her clothes are hanging in his kitchen drying.
Right.
So her dress and her stockings and
And
she never mentions it. She's like,
no, she's fine.
It's normal to her.
She's got a big bruise on one of her titties where he sucked on it for 10 minutes. She's like, I don't remember that being there. He's like, don't worry about that. No big deal. Are you
I'm a war
warm?
hero.
You want me to make you some clam chowder?
Hey, wait a minute. He almost did the same thing to that lady in It's a Wonderful Life. Remember the girl who falls into the bush and he steps on her dress and makes her naked.
Is Jimmy Stewart a serial fucking problem?
Yeah. I think we should have canceled him.
Maybe we cancel
He needs
now.
to be canceled.
Would you feel
no more? It's a Wonderful Life. That's the end of it.
Ladies, would you feel more safe in the woods with a bear or with Jimmy Stewart? I think it's the bear. The bear's not going to suck on your titty when you're asleep and play it off. She wakes up and they kind of have this conversation. What is their conversation about here?
The first thing is she wakes up where Jimmy Stewart is kind of creepily sitting in his own living room drinking a scotch. And there's a fireplace going. Great apartment, by the way. And you hear her whispering, but you don't know what she's saying unless you rewind it a few times. And she's saying, "My child, have you seen my child?"
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
I did hear that.
That's right.
So the phone rings and that wakes up Madeline. And it's Gavin calling John to say, "Where's my wife? What's going on? You're supposed to be following her all day." And she's naked, hangs up with Gavin, and he's like, "Here, take my robe," or whatever. And she comes out in the robe, and they just sit there talking about how she fell into the bay, and he saved her.
Here, have some coffee. Have another cup of coffee.
Here's a chloroform rag. Just cover your nostrils and mouth with that.
Your fingerprints will be on the handkerchief instead of mine.
I'm going to make a matching set of that bruise on you. A little bit of a hickey. I ever tell you about how I bombed the Germans over in WW2? I flew a B-24 vibrator. Liberator. All right, so they have this conversation.
Yeah.
And now so I want to just put this out there because we'll get to what's happening in this movie. But I had two thoughts that did not come to fruition in this movie. My first thought was that all this stuff that's happening in this movie, when it starts to kind of hit the skids for Johnny here, I thought it was going to be someone related to the criminal in the beginning of the movie, someone related to the uniformed cop in the beginning of the movie that was taking out their vengeance on him. That went out the window. But there's a scene in this scene here where it made me think that maybe Midge was fucking with him for the whole movie because she drives by and she sees them, and from that point forward for the rest of the movie, she's barely in it anymore.
Yeah.
But I thought for a minute, is Midge setting all this up to get him at the end for, not loving her or something? Didn't turn out to be either of those.
But she does have a very interesting scene coming up later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But the fact that she's kind of stalking him, not stalking, but she, is just driving by is just so weird that they just stop into each other's places. It's a very intimate thing for two people who aren't intimate.
I think her stalking is nowhere near as creepy as Scotty. So
Good point.
He's
good point.
Yeah,
he is danger level.
Oh yeah, and he gets worse towards the end. So
he becomes completely obsessed.
Let's get to the point where we end up taking the day trip. Now, they fall in love, right? I mean...
Yeah, so they're totally falling in love.
The time frame seemed like 20 minutes.
Yes.
She leaves, like, after she wakes up and gets her coffee.
It usually takes me at least 6 months to say that to somebody.
Yeah. But she leaves and goes home.
Yeah.
But then she comes back the next day. He goes on his way, does his whatever for the day. And then she comes back to deliver a letter to his door, and he happens to come back at the same time. And that's when
he's following her. He's following her again, and he realizes she's going to his place.
Right, that's right. Yeah. And then they have a little meetup, and they decide to do
the angle
like
of that
the
didn't seem like his
of,
place though, because when you see the angle of when Midge is coming down, then when they show the angle of his car pulling in,
it's later.
And also, I must note that he sucks at parking.
I don't think I noticed.
I did. I was like, the motherfucker's not even in the lines. What is this shit? He's got a lot of things I have issues with.
Oh, I have to say though, the San Francisco scenes and the cars and the colors is beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Like they don't make that anymore. Nowadays, you get white, gray, silver, and black cars. That's all you get.
Yeah. Shot of her before she jumps into the drink when she's outside of her car and it's the San Francisco Bridge or the Golden Gate Bridge, pardon me, like in the background there.
Yeah.
That looks great.
There's a lot of beautiful scenery in this movie. I will give it that. Absolutely. Yeah. It seems to be a very good focal point of the movie.
Yeah. So eventually they end up going for their perfect day to the, what was it? The San Luis.
The Muir Woods.
Well, they go to the woods and they have a conversation out there, and then they eventually decide to take a drive down to we're going to go down to the mission. It's about an hour drive. Come back at noon. Wait, I didn't understand why he gets rid of her to make her come back to go to the mission.
That's a different day, actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because it's in the middle of the night. Because she has a nightmare. Or a vision of her past life, and she starts explaining places, and he's like, oh, that place exists. Let's go tomorrow.
Right.
Because right now it's 2 a.m.
The pacing is very tough on this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Very
slow.
It is. I agree. I completely agree. But that day that they decide to wander together, they go to the woods, and she's talking about how she had died before, and then she kind of runs off again, and the wind is blowing, and her scarf is blowing, and it's this romantic, crazy thing, and they profess their love to each other.
That's where I kind of lose myself in the movie. Like, I don't really know what's going on. Like, I'm waiting for the next thing to happen.
Right. Right.
And that's after 2 days of dating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like us.
Well, they have the whole
Hey, when you know, you know.
They have the whole
It's like Leslie Nielsen and Priscilla Presley and Naked Gun.
Yeah.
You know, they do all that stuff, but that was like one weekend.
One day, right?
Something tells me I'm into something good.
Yeah.
Real quick aside, the new Naked Gun, not great.
No.
Not great.
I was going to go back to that. I almost
fun.
was going to bring it up, and now that,
just a quick aside. I wanted to like it so much more than I did. But
I actually, I laughed quite a bit.
No, you're not the only one.
Yeah,
the tone was set with the scene with the poster with the pumpkins, and that was it. I don't know. Maybe I'm ridiculous. I couldn't stop laughing at that one scene.
There was bits in it that I laughed at, but Leslie Nielsen forever. That's what I would say.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. All right, so they go for their perfect day. And the perfect day doesn't end very well, Manster. What ends up happening?
So they end up going to the mission, and they express their love for each other. And I guess Madeline runs away from him,
Before she runs away, she says, "Will you always love me?"
Oh, right. Yeah. That's right. And so she's got a head start on him, and she goes up the clock tower, the bell tower. And he follows, but, he's a wuss. He's got this this so-called
one of my issues with
like, that's a real thing. I don't know.
I've had vertigo, and it's not that bad.
Yeah. 3 hours into the movie, and his vertigo kicks in for the second time. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's...
And he gets about halfway up the stairs. It's a spiral staircase, and he just doesn't make it. He can't go any further. But as he's up there, I don't know if do you hear a scream on this one?
Hear a scream, and then she's down, and then you see her body come over.
You hear a scream, and you see her body through the window or whatever.
Yeah,
and she has fallen to her death.
Yeah, and he just takes off.
Yeah,
he takes off, and then essentially the next scene is the weirdest tribunal / what is happening here?
I don't know.
Who is that
This
guy?
is like halfway through the movie right now.
Yeah.
It's his trial because he's the witness to a suicide, and they want to know why he mysteriously left and didn't stay on the scene. And
Who that guy was? That guy was just dogging him.
Such a
He was
jerk.
just guilting him into...
Right.
It's a pity you didn't save her a second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not your fault, but you're really pussed out when you didn't save her.
Right.
Like the guy's like doing everything like backhanded compliments.
I've
Like,
had vertigo. You're a pussy.
yeah.
Right?
We have witness testimony here from Mr. Bob Howard that says Vertigo's not that bad, you fucking pussy. and Scotty's broke, right? Because like he loved her, and
Yeah.
he's just sitting in
he's
that
a
chair,
broken man.
totally
He's a broken
broken. And his ex-captain is there to give him emotional support, and then drives him home.
And Gavin Ulster is there. So here is kind of a conundrum because he's in love with Gavin's wife who just took her own life, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And Gavin tells John, Scotty, that he's going to leave the business and move on with his life. He's heartbroken and he just needs to get out of the country and go about his business. We forgot a part.
What do we forget?
With the midge with the painting.
Yeah. That was right
Sweet
before all
painting.
that, yeah.
That was way before.
That's right. We
Yeah.
alluded to it before. But
Yeah.
So at one point before they go to the mission,
Yeah.
Scotty goes over to Midge's apartment and she's like, oh, look, I've gotten back into an old thing that, I used to love painting, and I've got this painting and I want you to see it. And he uncovers it. And it's the painting of Carlotta.
Yeah.
Right.
Only with Midge's face.
Yes.
And she's sitting on a table behind it as he's looking at it in the exact same pose of the portrait. And he just freaks out and he leaves. And then she freaks out. She starts pulling her hair out and hitting herself in the head.
She
She starts saying, I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking idiot. Just like Scotty did in Boogie Nights.
Yeah, this is the part that I thought was going to lead to showing that she was the one.
Right.
That was causing all this. Because, she's, they're going to go out to a movie or something, and he's like, how about that movie another night? And it's like, fuck yourself. I'm going to go mini golfing by myself. And she's just like, dummy. I'm like, this is her. This is her. But
that's what it is. And that, I believe, is the last we
Midge
see of
disappears.
Midge. Oh, no. We see a little after.
Oh, do we? Okay.
She visits him in the hospital.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump ahead a little bit. He's in the hospital. He's pretty much catatonic.
Yep.
He's been there.
Well, he has the scene where he gets into
the dream.
The dumbass dream
sequence.
Oh,
Craziness.
right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
It was like
I was like, all right, is this telling us he's slipping into madness?
Yeah.
To Vertigo again? Or I don't know. I couldn't. He was starting to see Disney characters, it looked like.
He turned into like
Bambi.
He turned into
There was a little bit of Snow White in there for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
My least favorite part.
He turned into like a silhouette, and he
Steamboat Willie.
starts to spin around and everything. Yeah, that was bizarre.
And then what makes it even worse is the very next scene is him in, I don't know, somewhere in San Francisco in a parking lot observing some people.
Right.
Like, so now he's out of the sanatorium.
Well, he after the dream, he goes into the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And
Okay,
then
I'm sorry.
he becomes a stalker creeper again.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's just like from one thing to another.
It was kind of quick way he went from the hospital.
Is there any sort of time frame here? Like, it's just one thing after another?
I think that's what I was saying, is the pacing of the time frame is very skewed, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
Very, very skewed.
Totally.
I can't tell from one scene to the next what it seems like they all mesh together. Like it's one time, like one day. It doesn't seem like this is this day and that's the next day. And it doesn't, I don't get that feeling when I'm watching it.
This movie's 2 hours and 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
Just throw that out there. Just throw that out there.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that when I rented it on Prime, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's settle in for this.
All right.
I go and think about you every time you're like, this movie's like 6 hours long.
This movie could have been edited differently.
Could have been edited down to an hour and 20 minutes.
No, I would give it an hour and 35. There's
all right, yeah, okay.
the driving scenes don't have to take up 20% of the.
Some of the conversations are a little. Some of them are unnecessary.
Well, when we get into the second ending half here, where we meet Judy Barton, it kind of seems to slow down a little bit. Because it's almost starts over again. So Manster eventually John meets Judy Barton on the street. Who is she and why is he so into her? Say?
Right. So after seeing all these old ladies somehow that remind her of Madeline, they're all like 80 years old. But anyway, he's on the sidewalk and he sees a group of young ladies, and one of them resembles Madeline. She's younger. She has very highly arched eyebrows.
They almost look like Mr. Spock.
Yeah, it's grease paint. Yeah.
Her hair is a different color and it has a mullet. And but anyway, he stops her and they talk and.
Can I just jump in for a second?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm trying to think where they.
He follows her into her hotel.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
He follows.
So the reason that she reminds him of Madeline is her profile. So the hair, nothing else. It's just that profile, that beautiful nose and face and that Kim Novak gorgeousness. And the next scene is him basically following her into a hotel where she's staying. I've actually been to this place in San Francisco. It still exists. Hotel Vertigo, you said. And literally figures out which room she's in. She does the little thing again where she looks out the window and she sees him from below. He sees what room she's in.
So does she do that on purpose?
I think she does.
I think she does too.
She wants to see that he's watching. And he literally knocks on her door and she lives in a very small hotel room and she talks to him and she's very suspicious and she's like, "What do you want from me, slugger?" or whatever. And he's like, "How did you come to live here? Who are you?" And she's answering him, and she lets him into her room, and she's showing him
he
just driver's license.
Keeps forcing himself. He's like, "I just want to talk to you.
I just want to talk to
you.
you.
Can I just come in and just to talk to you?" And she said, "I could scream really loud."
Right.
So she was very on the defensive as second he was there.
Yes.
Kind of like giving off hints that she knew who he was, obviously,
of
clearly.
Course.
Kind of pick up on the vibes that he was on to her as well.
Oh, really?
I started to pick up on, I could kind of feel that. And once that scene, when he finally talked her into going out to dinner, and then when they cut and they just stay on her, I'm like, it's her.
Yeah.
Knew it right off the bat. Like, she started writing the letter and you can hear the narration behind her.
Yeah.
It's a good scene. I think.
It's a good scene. I agree. And it's intense because he just won't stop asking her.
And it makes you feel uncomfortable.
It makes you feel uncomfortable.
That's where I have my problems with him. He just feels very...
Well, that's part of the movie. I think that's part of what Hitchcock is going for.
I have to understand also back then it didn't feel like, it was like the norm for back then.
Rapey. The word rapey
was rapey is very normal back then. Yeah. Today, it's shunned upon and frowned upon, but I think we're so exposed to how culture is supposed to be today that you look back at this stuff and you're like, it doesn't age well.
The way Scotty acts for the rest of this movie, he goes out with her. She knows, okay, you think I look like this woman and that's like a little weird, but for some reason she keeps on going out with him.
Yeah.
Everything he does from this point forward in the movie is frustrating and seems like he's being really fucking weird.
Yes.
Until the end of the movie when you realize that he has the answers and he knows what he's doing.
Right.
Because that's how I felt. Now I'm going to say something here that's going to affect my scoring at the end of this movie. I watched this the other night and I fell asleep. I fell asleep after he met her in the hotel room. And then when I woke up, the movie was over and I was like, okay. So when I went to go watch it today to finish it, I was like, God, he's so fucking aggressive with her. Why isn't she screaming for help? Or, because he starts to do things like picking clothes out for her. He's trying to pick out things that Madeline wore. You're going to wear this. She says multiple times between the hairstyle and the clothes, I don't want to do this. And he goes, why does it matter to you? Like,
right. Like, you don't have a choice.
You don't, like, what, right. your choice shouldn't even matter. Why do you care? I care because I'm the man and I want you to look this way. And what difference does it make to you? Because I'm going to take you to Eugene's or Elliot's or fucking Esmeralda's for dinner 4 nights a week.
And it's a taco spot. I think she said they had good burritos there.
Ernie's Hot Tacos. But he's very much very frustrating.
Yes.
Okay?
Very.
And while I was watching it, I was like, I had a score in mind.
Same.
The last 10 minutes of the movie do redeem his behavior.
Right.
Okay? So now in the movie, he has started to date this Judy Barton woman. He has slowly morphed her into Madeline, and it's the same actress, so she looks basically the same.
Right.
She's into it, and she's all over him.
But at first,
you love me more is what she would say.
But there's a really interesting piece of this. So when they're in the hotel room, we don't know who she is, and we don't really know his focus. When he leaves the hotel room and convinces her to have dinner with him,
right?
That's when she goes to her closet. You see the gray suit.
Yep.
And she flashes back to Madeline dying.
Yep. Right.
And when I saw this as a 12-year-old, I thought, how does she know about that? And then I was like, it's the same woman because I'm 12. But also, I was so shocked that it was the same woman. And then everything fell into place. So she decides, instead of leaving, that she's going to stay and keep up the charade with him because she loves him so much.
Okay, so here's a question.
So we now know that it's the same woman and that she was hired to be an accomplice.
Here's my question then. Does he not know it's the same woman until she wears that necklace before they go to dinner? Meaning, like him making her change herself to look like Madeline. Was that all on his part? Like, I'm doing this to prove that I know that she's this same woman? Or is he really a creepoid who then discovers she's playing him and turns it around?
It goes both. It goes on both ends of the spectrum because it feels like like I said, I started to pick up like when they focused on her so much. I was like, what do you bet she is Madeline? And once it was revealed, I'm like, okay, so he's trying to prove something, but in the same breath, when he's doing this, I'm like, this motherfucker, I can't with him. And it started to get frustrating with me. And it was literally leaning on my score for this movie as well. Cause it was pissing me off with how I've always been a person that I don't like how women were treated. Cause I'm a huge Elvira fan and I've read her book and I've seen things she's gone through. And then seeing women going through this, it pisses me off. And it was affecting me. But you could definitely, you're trying to differentiate between the two. Was he was onto her, or is he just a fucking, like you said, a creepoid? So I couldn't really separate the two. So.
All right, Manster. He sees her before they go out on one of their dates to Ernie's Hot Tacos. the best hot tacos in San Francisco. He sees that she's wearing a necklace that was part of the painting that has to do with Madeline and all that stuff, and his attitude changes. He decides to take her on a ride. Let's go out to eat somewhere else. Instead of that, let's go to like Wendy's in Santa Barbara or some shit, right? He's like, let's take a fucking drive. They end up going back to the mission, right? And he gets kind of aggressive, Master. I want you to take us out on this movie and kind of explain everything else that happens from this point forward.
Yeah, so he gets aggressive. We pretty much hate him at this point. You're like, why do you keep doing this? And he's going further and further, and he's driving her back to the mission. He's not driving her to dinner at Ernie's or Taco Bell or anything like that.
He tells her he has to do one more thing to let the past be the past.
Yep,
right,
exactly.
Right. And obviously, when he sees the necklace, that is 100% confirmation of what he suspects.
That was it. Yeah, that's what pushed it.
And that's what pushed it to the end game of this. So he takes her down there. Yeah, once he gets there, he realizes, or he tells her, basically, we have to enact what you did before,
so that he can be free.
Yeah, to free himself. This is the whole thing, because he is devolved into madness.
Yes.
Right? And he recognizes that, but he can't stop himself from all these creepy, crazy things he's doing.
And he still hasn't admitted to her that he's onto her.
Right.
That doesn't happen until they get to the top of the tower.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what's going on in his mind, and he has to reenact this whole scene so he can be freed. Yeah. So they go up there, and he forces her, every inch up there, and he gets a little vertigo, but he gets past it, right? And
he gets to that point where when he starts to reveal that he's onto her, he's like, well, my vertigo's gone,
right?
Yeah, I made
it. And that I'm going to be honest, part of me thought that this was a scheme to cure him of his vertigo as well. But then I was like, all right, now that's just too easy.
That's like
fucking
the game.
No.
Piss me off.
So she admits it, and she talks about the whole ruse and everything. And when they get to the top...
Well, what was the ruse, right?
Well, the ruse was that Gavin hired her to play this part because they were having an affair, Gavin and... Judy. Yeah. And he wanted to get rid of his wife.
We never see the real Madeline Elster in the movie.
Never.
She's the dead body that she throws out of the tower.
So what you find out is, like you said, when he went up there the first time and got struck with vertigo and she continued up the stairs, that was not her body. But you sort of see a reenactment of what really happened was she got up the stairs and Gavin is up there waiting with the real Madeline, and he tosses her out the window. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he had already killed her.
He already had killed her.
Yeah.
And the scream was Judy.
Judy did the scream.
The wife.
Right.
But so Gavin wants all of his wife's money and wants to be free of her. And he devises this whole plan. He reads about John Ferguson having vertigo in the newspaper. He's like, I went to college with this guy. And he starts crafting a plan thinking, I can use this guy to help me.
Right. What a friend.
This plan really relies on some serious shit to happen.
I'll get there in my ratings.
Yeah.
Serious assumptions is what it is.
Yeah.
So when they get to the top, I think they're hugging to make up.
They make out, and it does like a 360, right? I think around them.
Mm.
Yeah, and then this nun sort of just appears because she heard some kind of ruckus and came to investigate.
It's a forced makeout. Let's make sure you're...
Yeah.
He forces that on her.
The nun comes up and she's like, I thought I heard of something. Yeah. Because when the next thing happens, she does the sign of the cross.
Yeah.
Right before the Universal Monsters ending.
And they are startled, and Judy just sort of backs up right out the same window where Madeline went out the first time.
Mm.
It happens all again. She hits the ground, and then we get the confirmation that he doesn't have vertigo anymore because he's standing on the ledge.
Right.
He stands on the ledge and looks over.
He's looking over, and
he's just like, back on the hinge I go.
Yeah.
So that's where the U.S. version of the movie ends.
Okay.
Right.
But let's have Candi explain the European version.
He goes back and he sets up his Tinder account again.
Exactly.
Swipe right, bitch.
It may have been when we watched it, Lloyd, the first time together, where we watched the extra, and they showed the alternate ending, which made me want to hurl. It just annoyed the living daylights out of me. But what happens is you see Jimmy Stewart, you see John Scotty on the roof, and then it cuts to Midge listening to the radio in her apartment, and they're talking about how Interpol, global police are on the hunt for Gavin Elster and they need to bring him to justice back to the country, back to the U.S. And she's not speaking. You only hear the radio, and then you see the door open, and of course it's Jimmy Stewart not knocking, and he makes himself a drink, and they just have a silent moment between the two of them. And the reason for the alternate ending, and I have to kind of, read this a little bit because it's so bizarre, is that there was this, I guess, censorship situation outside of the U.S. in Europe where they couldn't have the conclusion of a criminal not being caught and brought to justice. They couldn't just have Gavin Elster on the run. They had to close it out and conclude that he was going to be arrested eventually.
They don't even mention what happens to him in the regular version. Like he's
gone.
Which is Hitchcockian.
Right.
Which is what you want. You don't want to know what happens. You just want
He's living in Turks and Caicos.
Right? Exactly.
Turks or Caicos. He's on both of them. Yeah.
So that was the reason for the alternate ending that no one saw in the U.S.
All right, well, that's 1958's Vertigo. We did that for Candi here. Candi, thank you for your support as always. Manster, do you have box office?
I do.
All you care about is money.
So the budget was $2.5 million, and domestically it made 7.3, worldwide 7.8. So it did receive mixed reviews when it was released. It did not perform well when it first opened. And it failed to be a hit like Rear Window or some of his previous stuff. And Hitchcock blamed the film's failure on basically Jimmy Stewart appearing too old for the lead role. If you remember, he's 50 and Novak was 27.
I was wondering how old he was in that.
50. Yeah.
Yep. But basically, since then, it's become a legendary classic. Was considered to be his magnum opus. And it was one of the first 25 films selected by the Library of Congress. in 1989 for preservation in the National Film Registry. And I'll tell you, on the year, 1958, South Pacific was number one. I almost just said South Park.
South Park.
Could you imagine South Park in 1958?
1958, yeah.
Oh my God. And then, so I'll give you some of the notes I don't know that we talked about, but the dolly zoom, this famous Hitchcock effect, wasn't technically Hitchcock's invention. He pioneered it and he wanted that, but it was a cameraman called Roberts, who Ermin Roberts.
Ermin Roberts.
And I think we all know what it is, right? It's the camera pulling back while zooming in. And just a few seconds of the film on this particular occasion cost $19,000 to produce. There was a model of the bell tower, and it was laid down horizontally in the camera. So all those shots you see are actually in a horizontal, not vertical position. And the gray suit that Kim Novak wore, she hated it. She famously hated, didn't want to do that suit, but Hitch made her because he wanted her to feel uncomfortable in it because it basically mirrored her character. And that's it. We already talked about the bell tower not actually being there.
All right, let's rate this thing.
And a guy who spent 6 weeks in the bathroom got a 91.
All right, so we're going to rate this 0 to 5 as always, 0 being the worst thing ever, 5 being the best thing ever, quarter and half scale optional. But before we give our ratings, I asked the Pint Insiders on our Patreon page, $2.50 a month will get you a couple extra episodes. What were your favorite Hitchcock films? So we got some answers. Laura, the redheaded stranger, says Psycho will always be Psycho will always be on top for me. It's been one of my favorites for as long as I can remember. Norman Bates may be one of, if not my favorite characters of all time. I also have a very soft spot for Rear Window because it made me feel like it's okay to look into people's windows because they might be murderers. Julio Oliveira from the Contrarians podcast, love that podcast, says Strangers on a Train has the best balance of suspense and Hitchcock's silly sense of humor, plus a hell of a high concept. Best paired with Throw Mama Off the Train or From the Train for maximum impact. Chris Ramirez, Psycho is number 1, but The Birds is a close number 2. Chris Frodell, I can go back and forth with the answer. In this moment, Vertigo edges out Rear Window. Even though they've both been parodied and homaged, is that a word? Several times by others. He said that, not me. I'm not a dick. When I first watched them, I felt the tensions. I was unsure of the outcome. Added bonus, the video for Faith No More's Last Cup of Sorrow made much more sense afterwards. Yes, I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And finally, Patrick Flanagan says Vertigo and North by Northwest are tied for second place. Psycho is first place by a mile. All right, so we know the ratings. Let's start ladies first because that's the way we should do things unless we're Jimmy Stewart in this movie.
We gotta, we should stick with the Jimmy Stewart vibe.
You don't get to rate this. Candi.
We're gonna rate this for you.
Yeah.
Not until you have blonde hair.
Yeah. Go dye your hair and put this dress on.
So I think, it's a 5, hands down. But I think, and Bob and I were kind of talking about this a little bit. I am an anti-misogynist. Oh my God. The age I was when I first saw this film, the excitement that my mom brought to the whole process of watching this movie that she loves, just made it so exciting to me. And I was so surprised that moment when Judy flashes back to Madeline. I just remember how I felt and being so confused and excited by the whole thing. But I love the music. I love the visuals. I love the colors, the green car, the green, the dress. Just Kim Novak was so stunning. And I just think it was cast perfectly. I can't believe it was supposed to be Vera Miles instead of Kim Novak, but Vera Miles was pregnant. Edith Head as the costume designer, all of it. I just thought that it was such a great film and I can watch it over and over again and find something new every time.
Master.
And you gave it what? A 5? 5.0. You should give it a 2, right? You don't mind if I give it a 2 for you, do you?
Put on this. All right. Put on this.
Whatever you like.
It shouldn't matter to you.
Put on this gray suit and give it a 2.
By the way, go put on that wig.
We're going to eat at Ernie's tonight. They got hot tacos.
I've always liked Vertigo. The visual, innovative dolly camera shot. It's affected so many movies since then. It's pretty great. I love the Technicolor, cinematography from the 50s and all the different colored cars and everything and all the outfits, and people get dressed up to go to McDonald's. It does explore the dark side. A lot of the whodunit type movies, they don't really explore a lot of that, but this does explore very dark themes, male obsession and desire to control others. Especially women back in those days, and the blurring of reality and fantasy, and how much is too much? I don't know. This gives you a good feeling of that. And the score, the music is a character, like so many great movies that you can think of. Like it's always the music ties it in, right? It ties it all together. So this does that very well. Stewart gives a great performance. Very unsettling. I don't remember a whole lot of Stewart where he's like this unsettling, creepy guy just devolving into this type of character. So he's got range that I think, wasn't really a thing. Actors having range back then, I don't think was a big thing.
No.
It was always kind of everybody played the same thing.
Unless you were Bela Lugosi.
Okay. It has a very slow pace, right? It's a slow burn. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of driving. There's extra stuff in here. It's too slow in the beginning, for sure. So here's the worst part about it for me is the plot logic, right? So Hitchcock, as great of a filmmaker as he is, he puts what they call cinematic truth over logic, right? So what you're seeing in the movie, that's the truth of the movie. That may not be like the truth of reality or what you and I, would believe would really happen, but it's the truth of the movie. And that's what Hitchcock goes for a lot. So this central murder plot is very convoluted and relies on a lot of things and coincidences that don't really stand up to common sensibilities of so many things have to happen for this plan that Gavin Elster came up with. It's like he planned meticulously every little part of it.
He could have hired a guy to shoot her in the face.
It's so ridiculous. It's almost on the level of Inception.
Yeah.
And he could have got away with it back then, too.
Yeah,
hired
100%.
Yeah.
And I think also what makes the movie good also makes it uncomfortable is just, it's uncomfortable to watch how far down the path he's going with what he's doing. And although in the end, I'm not going to say it redeems it, but you understand it. Like you said, you get it at the end. Like, all right, now he's really trying to uncover the source of his madness is what's going on. He's treating her like shit, but he can't help it. It's what he's devolved into. And that animated dream sequence was just so out there. I didn't really enjoy it that much. It felt a little weird. But I still think it's a very good movie, and I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Bob, you're next.
All right, so going into this movie, as I'm watching it, I was extremely frustrated with the movie. And now that I get to talk to Candi about it, and I talk to Lloyd about it, and you guys have actually, not as peer pressure or anything, but you kind of like affected my actual rating I wanted to give this. And, the misogynism is extremely it overshadows a lot of the movie. And we all know that that's Hitchcock's thing, is he always liked to push his actresses because he wanted that. I think he wanted that sympathy from the audience. And I get it. All of this, when watching Jimmy Stewart just descend into depravity, like, I was really hating the dude. At first I was like, this motherfucker is creepy. And then you got to the end, you're like, I want to punch this dude in the face. And the end, she falls and he looks down and it's like, oh, back to the dating sites again. And it's like, I was like, when it ended, all I could think of was John saying, it's a Universal Monsters ending. And I'm like, motherfucker, this is totally a Universal Monsters ending. And that, it kind of was going to affect my rating of the movie, because I'm like, this is how this shit ends. There's other things that were not tied up. But then the thing is I came onto this movie because I don't know a lot about the Hitchcock movies, except for The Birds, because when I was a kid, I saw it tons of times. And I knew nothing about Hitchcock back then. But, obviously I've seen Psycho, great movie. I never saw Rear Window, and this was my first time seeing Vertigo. So my first time, I was pissed, and I wanted to give this a 1. I was literally like, I hate this movie. But now, listening to the history that Candi came up with and listening to what exactly I had to take myself out of today, seeing it for the first time, and try to put myself into the day when you would probably see it for the first time when I was a kid. If I saw this as a kid, I would have loved this movie. I would have thought it was fantastic, and it would have fucked me up. And I would have never thought anything about the misogynism in the movie, but today I am. And that's why I was leaning hard on a 1. I'm honestly going to give it a 3.5.
Holy shit, that's a swing.
That's a really
good
big
swing.
A lot of the stuff does make sense when you get to talk about it again and things are unfolding. You're like, I wanted to be the first person to give a movie a 1 on here.
Oh no,
I probably wasn't the first. Wouldn't have been the first, but I would have been up there, and especially for this movie, and probably would have had some haters. But I can't give it a 1. After just talking about it and then really reliving it, it's not that bad of a movie. You got to think about it as to what it was then, and I think this movie it worked. And I had to change my score. Sorry.
All right. So Bob gives it a 3.5. I will come in lower than that. That said, I give it a 2.75.
Oh.
Here's the reason. I agree with what Bob was saying for a different reason. In a 1958 setting, going to the movies in 1958, I can see where this would be high suspense, maybe, the twist at the end and everything. I liked where they went with the twist. I did. But for a Hitchcock movie, I felt no suspense in this movie. I felt no real danger in this movie. Now I know Hitchcock's not necessarily a horror guy. He's more of a thriller, suspense. Psycho is a horror movie. Psycho is kind of like a template for slashers in a way. But I didn't feel any real danger in this movie. And, I know I made the jokes a million times about that there's all these driving scenes and everything. This movie could have been edited severely. Yeah. Again, in an era where movies weren't necessarily usually this long, this movie was pretty long. And it does take a while to kind of get you where you're going. Yes, there are some severe logical leaps in the plot of what Elster's doing. But you know what? Like Lloyd said, cinematic truth versus reality. Okay, that's fine. Jimmy Stewart's good in this because I believe that he's kind of a guy who's kind of slowly lost his marbles. But at the same time, I also am like, what is it about this character that makes him so obsessed with this woman? Right? There's never ever, there should have been a bit where maybe they said, there was a bit with Midge or Marge or whatever her name was where she's like, well, you left me because you became, enamored by this other girl or something. And there's a hint that he's done this before where he goes after the unattainable or something. He kind of he falls in this love with this, hot little piece of ass. She dies and then he's all fucked up. And then when he thinks he sees a woman that looks like her, he just becomes the worst guy ever. And I kind of felt like a lot of that was out of left field. This is a well-made movie. I did actually appreciate it so much more when I watched the ending of it. Because again, I don't shut movies off and I don't rate things without watching them all the way through. Where I was at when I fell asleep, I was like, oh no, this movie is just not doing it for me. The ending is actually pretty decent. But the trip that it takes to get there, it didn't knock my socks off. We had the insiders talk about their favorite movies. I've only seen 2, Psycho and Rope. I enjoyed both of those more than this. So again, this is not a terrible movie, but I'm going to go 2.75.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
How many number ones was on that insider list? 5 of them?
None. It was all...
No, some of them were Vertigo.
No, it was hold on. Chris says Vertigo, Edge. Okay, Chris Frodell. Says that.
I think it was just Chris.
Chris Frodell. Everybody else says that.
Chris and Candi.
Yeah.
Chris and Candi. Yeah. All right, Master. Tell them where they can find us.
All your podcatchers on YouTube, The Pint, a Pop Culture Podcast, and on Instagram, it's at The Pint Pop, and you already know about the Patreon. That's where.
Master. Get in the closet and put on your gray dress. You're gonna look good for me tonight, bitch.
We're going for burritos. Very end,
We're going to Ernie's for hot tacos. Oh, you're gonna look fabulous. Go in there and dye your hair.
We're gonna look at trees.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off!